Alright, good day everyone. So today we're gonna do another unboxing video. And as requested by you guys, it's gonna be about the bootleg SHMonsterarts Mechagodzilla from the movie Godzilla vs. Kong. But before we begin, I'd like to invite everyone to please subscribe to the channel and hit on the notification bell to get the latest updates from the hobbyist. So yeah, let's begin. So as you can see, let's address the elephant in the room. The box looks hideous, and this is basically what it looks like when I got it from Shopee or from the online store where we get all these bootleg stuff. But anyway, yeah, so I tried to preserve it so that I could present it to you guys what it looks like, and just to give you an idea, this is basically the risk that a lot of us have when we buy bootleg products. So most of the time, I mean, not really most of the time, but there are really some instances wherein they come like this. So anyway, since most of us, when you're buying bootleg stuff, we're not really concerned about a box. So yeah, the problem is it's gonna be harder to resell this thing because the box is basically destroyed. So we are gonna try to get a refund for the product, but before we do that, I figured why not review it. So anyway, this is what the box looks like. So as you can see, it's much smaller than the original SHMonsterarts box. So the original box is a little bit bigger, so it's like a few inches, like 3-4 inches bigger. And I'll show you a picture of the original box while we're discussing this. I'm not sure how we're gonna do that. Probably we're gonna put a little section here or there. Yeah, so that's what the original box looks like, and this is the bootleg box. So it's a little bit smaller. They did try to copy the original SHMonsterarts box, albeit it's smaller, so you could easily tell that it's a bootleg based on what the box looks like. At the back of the box, you can see some poses of the figure, so it's similar to what the original box looks like as well. So we're also gonna show you the original box right now, just to give you like a comparison on what the original looks like, and then going back here, this is what the bootleg box looks like. So in a nutshell, the bootleg box, the print is kind of dark. I mean, especially of the figure. So the print is kind of darker compared to what the original box looks like. And the thing is, it still shows you some of the gimmicks that the figure has, the original SHMonsterarts figure. But we will show you later on if those gimmicks are still present on the bootleg. So without further ado, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the figure out of the box and see what the figure looks like. Okay, so out of the box, this is what the figure has. So we have the Mechagodzilla figure here, and then the tail comes detached, and we also have an extra pair of hands. So comparing that to the original figure, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring out the original figure here. So Mechagodzilla, the original figure, also comes with an extra pair of hands, and basically that's it. And of course the tail, it's already attached on mine. So anyway, so yeah, I guess this is a good opportunity for us to show you what the gimmicks are supposedly for both figures. So in the original figure, there are some shoulder rockets on Mechagodzilla's shoulder, so you could pry it open to show those shoulder rockets for you, like so. So those are and that goes on the other side as well. On the bootleg, unfortunately, it doesn't have that gimmick. So as you can see, it's already glued to the shoulder. Not sure if I can show that. Yeah, so it's glued to the shoulder, so it doesn't open up, so it doesn't have that gimmick, contrary to what the box says. So it says on the box that that gimmick is there, but in reality it's not. The second gimmick is on the chest. So in the chest area of the original Mechagodzilla, let me see if I can give you a close-up on that one. Yeah, so on the chest area, as you can see, there are also some missile pods, if you will, or rocket launchers on the chest area. So this one opens and closes actually. So you have like 4 of these. I'm sorry, yeah, 3 of these. So you have 3 sets of rocket launchers on the chest. So that's what the original looks like, and then it closes and it looks like this when it's closed. On the bootleg, you also don't have that gimmick. So on the bootleg, as you can see, it's just one chest piece, and they didn't really put any effort to at least show those rocket launchers, if you will. Okay, so that's some of the gimmicks that the bootleg doesn't have. Now moving on to the extra pair of hands. So on the original figure, the extra pair of hands actually there is the fingers are actually detachable. So what you do is basically just wiggle it out, and then you could replace it with the one that's attached to Mechagodzilla. So the reason there is the extra pair of hands is kind of like the closed hand, while the one attached to Mechagodzilla is the one that's open. So now, at least with this, you could interchange the fingers with what you want, what pose you would like Mechagodzilla to do. Unfortunately for the bootleg, okay, so for the bootleg, there is one hand that kind of adheres to that. So this one you could actually remove, and remove the fingers, but for the rest of it, it's kind of glued shut. So again, that gimmick doesn't work for the bootleg. So yeah, so that's kind of how we wanted to start this review first, and then what we're gonna do next is we are going to look at the sculpt and the paint application on this figure. Okay, so first let's look at the sculpt and the paint application. So I think for paint application, since we've already repainted the original SHMonsterarts Mechagodzilla, it's kind of hard to see already, since most of even the gray parts we've already repainted. So as you can see, yeah, most of the details are not as, so there's weathering already, then there's paint, there's red paint where it's supposed to be red. So yeah, so that's the original one we have here. But originally, okay, so most of that detail is not there, so it's consistent with how it was with the bootleg here. So it's basically, most of it is just silver, and then there are hints of red on the dorsal plates, which is consistent with how it was with this figure. The eyes are also has a good red shine, which is consistent with how it was with the SHMonsterarts figure. Now let's go and look at the sculpt. Now in terms of sculpt, this figure is actually lifted off the original SHMonsterarts figure, so a lot of the intricate details are there. Yeah, but something that I'd like to highlight really is how the sculpt is finished, if you will. So if you look at the original SHMonsterarts figure, for example, the lines are well defined. Let me just see if I could focus the camera. So the lines are more well defined. and the metal finish is very smooth. So that's consistent all throughout the figure, and this is something that I'm very much impressed with how SHMonsterarts did it, because this is supposed to be a metal figure, so a lot of the finish has to be smooth, and that's one of the reasons why we actually opted to get into 3D printing, because when you're doing manual sculpting, it's really hard to make those finish smooth. Now, if you look at the bootleg figure, that's one of the flaws that you could see, because as you can see on the chest area, and it's actually consistent all throughout the figure, and the one that I showed you earlier on the thighs, and of course on the head, it's not as smooth as the original SHMonsterarts figure. So this is one of the struggles that we had when we are doing some custom made sculpts of buildings, of airplanes and whatnot, because it's hard to make the surface as smooth as it's supposed to be. So, and we can see that on this bootleg figure. So it's probably, there is probably some attempt, you know, to sculpt it, but I mean to use like the actual SHMonsterarts mold or the actual SHMonsterarts figure and remold it. But from that process, you know, since this is probably from a metal mold and this is probably from a plastic mold or rubber mold, there are some differences on how it was finished. And I'd like to show you one glaring example of that is if you look at the face, there are some details on the face that are not supposed to be there. Like, I mean, which is probably from post-processing the figure. So if you look at the mouth area of this figure, there are some extra plastic that is hanging out of the mouth. It looks like teeth, but it's not supposed to be there. I mean, these areas right here. So if you look at the original SHMonsterarts figure, by comparison, this one is a cleaner and a smoother looking figure. So those are some of the differences really that and you could say that I'm just nitpicking, but yeah, I mean, it is expected for these figures, because you know this is what, 180 170 bucks, and this is like 20 bucks or $25. So yeah, so the price is like way apart from each other. So if you are comparing this to like the Playmates or the Bandai Movie Monster series, but then by all means this is an upgrade. But if you're gonna compare it to the original SHMonsterarts figure, then no, it's night and day, as you can see. Now let's look at the articulation on this figure. Okay, so in terms of articulation, so the head is connected by a ball joint. So there's a ball joint on the head area and the back of the neck here. But the thing is, it could look at least up to that far. While on the original SHMonsterarts figure, it could look way lower. So as you can see, it could look all the way that far. On the bootleg, it could only look down that far. I'm not sure if it's because of the sculpt or it's because of the socket on the ball joint connected to Mechagodzilla, but at least for me this is an important post, because since you're dealing with kaijus here, so most of the time they're really looking down. So for me to make this figure look down, you have to readjust the pose, and that's easier said than done, because this is since this is not metal and this is plastic, chances are it's gonna fall off. You see, it's already starting to bend forward. So yeah, now let's move on to the other articulation on this figure. So just like the original SHMonsterarts, this is basically a swivel on the shoulders, and then the shoulder pads also move up and down. Now, one glaring difference again is that the shoulder pads are connected by a solid metal rod, while on the SHMonsterarts, this is actually a hollow metal rod that they used. Okay, so moving on, the arms are connected by a swivel and hinge combo. And then the elbows are connected by a swivel and a hinge as well, similar to how it was with the original figure. And then the wrist is connected by a ball joint. So the hands are connected by a ball joint, sorry. So again, this is interchangeable, so you could remove the hand here and replace it with the one that's closed. Moving on to the rest of the body here. So in the thighs, we have a thigh swivel. Actually, it's a ball joint, and that one just came off. Okay, so this is supposed to be the piston. So yeah, so this one came off, so it's connected by a ball joint, which is a nice touch. I mean, it's a nice accident, because for me, this is one of the more problematic parts of the original figure. So anyway, more with the articulation. So there's an extra piece that's connected to the leg here, which is kind of like the leg guard, if you will. And then so the thighs are connected by a hinge and a swivel. And then there is also a swivel there's also a thigh swivel here. And then on the knees, so we have a double hinge. And they, just like the original SHMonsterarts, they copied the hydraulic on the back of the knees, which is a nice touch if you ask me. Except that these are plastic, so do be careful in moving them. Unlike in the original SHMonsterarts, those are made of metal, so you kind of have more confidence in moving the joints on the original compared to this one. Now, on to the ankle. So the ankles are a swivel and hinge combo, which is something you can see here. So that's the hinge. It's actually, no, I stand corrected. So these are actually two hinges. One moving up and forward and back, and then one moving right and left. Now, on the original SHMonsterarts, if I'm not mistaken, this is actually, well, yeah, it's actually the same design. So again, so these are both hinges moving up and down, I mean forward and back, and then left and right. But the nice thing about the original is they have this extra piece to keep it in place. So this, you have this flap, similar to how they did with Gundam figures. So you have this flap to kind of keep the ankle in place. And of course, since it's made of die-cast metal, it's planted firmly on the ground compared to this one. As you can see, this one just came out of the box and it's already a bit flimsy. And because that part doesn't really go down, so it's not keeping there is this gap in between the foot and the ankle, so it's more exposed. So yeah. Now, moving on to the tail section. So just like the SHMonsterarts figure, so most of this is just ball joints. So it's ball joints from here all the way up to this part right here. So yeah. So I guess that's it for the articulation on this figure. And by the way, so just recap again, just like what we've mentioned earlier. So most of the gimmicks, all of the gimmicks that this guy has, the bootleg doesn't have. So again, the shoulder weapons are not there. You couldn't open the hatch on the chest area as well. One thing that they copied from the original are the hydraulics, so it's also here, and it's still made of plastic. I think the nice part there is at least you could take these guys off. So if you don't want it and you don't want those pistons hanging out, you could always remove the whole thing and replace it with something else. So I guess that's a better design, if you will. For me, at least it gives you some more options, a better option compared to what you have in the original. But again, yeah, it's a small take. It's something that at least it works for the bootleg. Anyway, my final thoughts on this figure: $25 if I'm not mistaken. For $20 or $25, this is a nice figure compared to, compared to like the Playmates figure or the Bandai Movie Monster series. This has more sculpt, paint application, more articulation compared to those figures. Now, why not just buy this compared to those figures, right? So in terms of collectability, if you are trying to collect figures or original figures, and of course this option is not for you. But if you're looking for a toy, someone to give to a kid and get them into like the Godzilla universe, then of course, by all means, this one is for you. Now, if you have the extra budget, or if you are collecting SHMonsterarts figures, then it's night and day. I mean, if you compare these figures side by side, it's a no-brainer that you would opt to get the original SHMonsterarts compared to this one. So, I mean, the sculpt is just way better. The paint application is just way better. And it's made of die-cast metal. A lot of the parts, especially the one that, keeps the figure standing up, is made of die-cast metal. All of these is basically plastic. So yeah, so those are the possible considerations that I might have if I'm gonna buy a figure. But for $25, again, this guy is like $170, $180. Compare that to this guy, which is $25. If you're on a budget, you want a Mechagodzilla figure, then this is the answer to your prayers. Yeah. So it is what it is. It has some limitations, and we've highlighted them. But for $25, there's nothing wrong with getting this figure. All you need to do is, repaint it, polish some to make them smoother, sand them and whatnot, and basically you have something that rivals this guy. So yeah. Okay, so at this point you should be seeing the shoutouts on today's video. If you want to be included on the next roll call, all you need to do is drop us a comment down below, show us some love, subscribe to the channel, and we are also in Facebook, The Hobbyist, and you could also check us out on our Instagram, _hobbyist. So if you have any questions that we might not have highlighted on any of the content that we have, you could always send us a comment down below. You could also send us a message on those social media platforms that I've mentioned earlier. So yeah, again guys, thank you guys for watching this video. Thank you for supporting our channel, and yeah, I guess that's it for me, folks. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.